The rover, called Perseverance, survived a perilous high-speed plunge through the Martian atmosphere and made it safely onto the surface of the red planet.
The Perseverance rover made it through a pretty risky high-speed plunge through the Martian atmosphere and made it safely onto the surface of the red planet. The Perseverance rover made it through a pretty risky high-speed plunge through the Martian atmosphere and made it safely onto the surface of the red planet. It's been over a decade now that NASA has been exploring Mars, and the discoveries just keep getting more and more exciting. It's been 13 years now since NASA made history by sending the Curiosity rover to Mars. This was a big deal, because Curiosity wasn't just any rover. It was built to explore, map the planet's terrain, and search for signs of ancient life. 3 years ago, NASA welcomed a new member to the Martian team, Perseverance. After years of exploration, these two robotic explorers have sent back something truly out of this world, footage from Mars itself. The images and videos are incredible, offering us a detailed view of Mars' surface, which is filled with rocky landscapes, towering hills, and deep craters. So, what exactly are we looking at here? And what else have these rovers been up to since they touched down on Mars? Exploring Mars has always been a source of fascination for us. Many of us know it as the red planet. For centuries, we've been looking up at this reddish dot in the night sky, wondering what mysteries it might hold. Is there maybe even life there? Could we even live there? What is it actually like? These questions have fueled our fascination, but it wasn't until the space age, when technology finally caught up with our curiosity, that we started to get some real answers. Back in 1964, NASA launched the Mariner 4 spacecraft, marking the first successful mission to Mars by humans. This was a flyby mission, which meant the spacecraft didn't land on Mars, but simply passed by. It was a real turning point because Mariner 4 sent back the first ever close-up pictures of Mars. Before this, we had no idea what the surface really looked like. When those images arrived, we were surprised to find that Mars had a cratered surface, much like our moon. This showed us that Mars wasn't the smooth, Earth-like planet some had imagined, but rather a place with its own unique rugged beauty. This was a real turning point. It was like the spark that got the ball rolling on exploring Mars. It was as if the idea of understanding this neighboring planet suddenly became a real possibility. We'd seen it, and now we wanted to know more. The space race was really starting to heat up and Mars was right in our sights. That's when NASA took a different approach. Viking missions were set up to search for life on Mars. In the years that followed, there were several attempts to learn more about Mars. But one of the most impressive was NASA's Viking program. In the 1970s, Viking 1 and Viking 2 weren't just passing by Mars. They actually landed on the surface. This was a big deal because it meant we could run experiments on Mars itself. The Viking landers were equipped with tools to search for signs of life. They collected soil samples, analyzed them, and sent the results back to Earth. While the results didn't confirm any clear signs of life, they gave us a much deeper understanding of Mars's soil, atmosphere, and weather patterns. It was around this time that we started to realize just how tricky it would be to find evidence of life on Mars. The soil seemed pretty sterile, and the harsh conditions, extreme cold and radiation, made the planet seem even more hostile than we'd imagined. But the Vikings gave us all the data we needed to make sure every subsequent Mars mission was a success. By the 1990s, we were exploring Mars in new ways. One of the most notable missions of this period was the Mars Pathfinder, which delivered the Sojourner rover in 1997. The Sojourner was a small rover, about the size of a microwave, with 6 wheels that allowed it to move around Mars's rocky surface. This little rover wasn't just a test of our ability to land on Mars. It was proof that we could move around and explore, taking close-up looks at rocks and soil. Sojourner wasn't the fastest, but it was a huge step forward in how we could study Mars. NASA's rover missions have been instrumental in our understanding of Mars. These rovers are like many scientists on wheels, each with a range of tools designed to study the planet's surface and atmosphere in detail. The first big success in this line of missions was the Mars Pathfinder, which included the Sojourner rover. Then, in 2004, NASA sent 2 rovers, Spirit and Opportunity, to explore different regions of Mars. What's really impressive is that these rovers were only expected to operate for 90 days, but they far exceeded those expectations. Spirit explored Gusev Crater, which scientists thought might have once held a lake. It managed to get through some pretty challenging terrain and took a good look at the rocks, giving us some really valuable insights into Mars's geological history. Meanwhile, Opportunity was making its own history. It explored the Meridiani Planum region and found solid proof that there was once liquid water on Mars. Despite their long and productive missions, both Spirit and Opportunity eventually lost contact. With those successes under their belts, NASA set its sights on building even more advanced rovers that could push the boundaries of exploration. Curiosity, the next generation of rovers, marked a new era in Mars exploration. It was a lot bigger and more advanced than any rover that had gone before. After a long 9-month journey through space, Curiosity finally reached Mars on the 6th of August 2012, landing in Gale Crater, a location chosen because scientists believed it might have once contained water. But the landing was anything but simple. In fact, it was so nerve-wracking that it's now famously known as the 7 Minutes of Terror. During those 7 minutes, a series of complex steps had to be carried out perfectly for Curiosity to land safely. This included a sky crane maneuver, which was a new technique that had never been tried before. In a nutshell, the rover was lowered down from a hovering spacecraft using cables. We were lucky that everything went to plan, and Curiosity landed safely, ready to get started on its mission. Curiosity was quick to start sending back images from the Martian surface, giving us a detailed look at its new home. But the real mission was just getting started. Curiosity was designed to answer some of the biggest questions about Mars, including whether the planet could have ever supported life. With cutting-edge instruments, Curiosity started looking at rocks, soil, and the atmosphere to find out more about Mars's ancient environment. What makes Curiosity stand out from the crowd? The gadgets on Curiosity are pretty impressive. Curiosity is equipped with a range of innovative tools to assist its exploration of the Red Planet. Just picture it as being the size of a car. It's about 10 feet long, 9 feet wide, and 7 feet tall, which is roughly the size of a small SUV, and it weighs nearly 2,000 pounds. One of its most impressive tools is the ChemCom. It sounds pretty futuristic, doesn't it? It's basically a laser gun that zaps rocks and soil, turning them into gas. Then, it analyzes the gas to figure out what the rock and soil are made of. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's real. Curiosity also has another impressive piece of technology called the Sample Analysis at Mars, or SAM for short. SAM is basically a mini lab on the rover. It can study the chemical makeup of the samples Curiosity collects, including searching for organic compounds. This is a huge deal because it could tell us if Mars ever had life. So SAM is like a little detective looking for clues about ancient life on Mars. Curiosity also has a pretty special power source. It uses something called a radioisotope thermoelectric generator, or STIG. This converts the heat from plutonium-238, a radioactive material, into electricity. The great thing is that this means Curiosity can work all the time, day or night, summer or winter, without running out of power. It's like having a supercharged battery that just keeps going. It was a costly but essential mission. Building all these sophisticated gadgets didn't come cheap. The whole mission, called the Mars Science Laboratory, cost a whopping $2.5 billion. I know that sounds like a lot of money, but think about all the valuable insights we've gained about Mars because of it. All in all, it was worth every penny. I'd like to tell you a bit about the name Curiosity. NASA is always serious about naming their rovers, and they love to get kids involved in choosing a name for Curiosity. In 2009, NASA held an essay contest, inviting students from across the United States to suggest names and explain their choices. Clara Ma, a Year 7 student from Kansas, suggested the name Curiosity and won the whole contest with her essay. In her essay, Clara wrote something really inspiring. She said, "Curiosity is an everlasting flame that burns in every kid's mind. It gets me out of bed in the morning, excited to see what surprises the day will bring. Curiosity is a powerful force. Without it, we wouldn't be who we are today. It's curiosity that drives us through our everyday lives. We've become explorers and scientists because we like to ask questions and wonder." NASA loved how she captured the spirit of exploration in her words, and that's how the rover got its name. It shows us that the desire to explore and discover is something we all have in common. It's not just about what's out there on Mars, but also about what's inside us as humans. Since it landed on Mars, the Curiosity rover has made some pretty amazing discoveries. One of the most exciting discoveries was evidence that Gale Crater, where the rover landed, was once a lake billions of years ago. It's pretty mind-blowing to think that Mars, which we tend to think of as a dusty, barren planet today, might have had lakes, rivers, and even a climate that could have supported life. The Curiosity rover has found rocks and minerals that can only form in water, which is solid proof that Mars had liquid water at some point in its past. And there's more. It also found organic molecules in ancient Martian soil. Just to be clear, these aren't signs of life. but they are important because organic molecules are the building blocks of life. So, while we can't say for sure that Mars had life, it does suggest that the conditions on Mars billions of years ago might have been favorable for life. This is a big step forward in understanding Mars' history and whether it could have supported life. The Curiosity mission has also been studying the planet's atmosphere. The findings revealed that Mars once had a much thicker atmosphere, which would have meant there was a chance of liquid water existing on the surface. However, over time, most of Mars's atmosphere was lost to space. The next step is to work out how and why that happened. This is really important for scientists because it helps them understand how planets, including our own, evolve over time. What does the future hold for Mars exploration? Curiosity is still going strong after more than a decade on Mars, but it's not alone anymore. NASA's Perseverance rover touched down on Mars in February 2021 as part of the Mars 2020 mission. Perseverance is even more advanced than Curiosity and has a specific mission to search for signs of past life. One of the coolest things about Perseverance is that it's collecting samples of Martian soil and rock, which NASA plans to bring back to Earth in a future mission. This will be the first time that Martian material will be studied in labs here on Earth, and it could help answer some of the biggest questions about Mars's history. Another thing they're doing is carrying a small helicopter called Ingenuity. Ingenuity is a technology demonstration designed to test whether it's possible to fly a helicopter on Mars, where the atmosphere is much thinner than on Earth. It's been a huge success so far, with dozens of flights completed and proof that we can explore Mars from the air. This opens up a whole new way of studying the planet in the future. NASA's rover missions have really changed how we understand Mars, from Sojourner to Spirit, Opportunity, Curiosity, and now Perseverance. Each mission has brought us closer to answering the age-old question, could life ever have existed on Mars? With each new discovery, we're reminded that Mars is a planet full of surprises waiting to be explored. To sum up, Curiosity has taken us further and wider than ever before. The Curiosity rover has been everything we hoped it would be. It's got our brains whirring and shown us new ways of understanding Mars. We've learned that Mars wasn't always the cold, dry planet it is today. There's a chance that at one point, the conditions were right for life to exist there. The evidence that Curiosity has uncovered brings us one step closer to solving the mystery of whether life ever existed on Mars. The success of Curiosity and other rovers shows us just how far our curiosity can take us. From the first images of Mars's surface to discovering ancient water and organic molecules, the rover has completely transformed how we see our neighboring planet. But there's still more to come. With Perseverance now on Mars and plans for future missions, including the eventual goal of sending humans to Mars, we're on the brink of an exciting new era of exploration. Ultimately, it's not just about Mars. It's about our basic human desire to explore, ask questions, and seek out the unknown. As we keep exploring Mars and other worlds, Curiosity shows us that our drive to understand the universe is what makes us who we are. It's a fire that will keep burning, encouraging us to go further and discover more than we ever thought possible.